it's streaming.
He's so quadrado on the right side of the field. Grand.
Says it's running. It says I'm offline. Nope. It says I'm offline. Nope. Okay, we seem to be back on now. And give me a sec. Okay, I'm not hearing audio from the game. That's because I'm currently not in that window. That's how it saves resources for the computer. I think that needs to be turned up a little bit on my end. At least that moved a little bit closer. So you should be able to hear me. And so the game audio will fix it up shortly. My apologies for the I'm going to say technical setup that's going on. First time using OBS. Most of my other streams have been on straight from the PS4 in the past, which is, as you can imagine, immediately just formatting the content out without me having to worry about the settings at all. But setting up on PC is slightly different, but hopefully should have it working for the most part. Decided that since I have some time these days, I'll be streaming it, hopefully a full playthrough of this. Still have a few other playthroughs I have to go and finish. Bloodborne, Ace Combat, I believe I was doing one through there. Hollow Knight is a bit iffy, mostly because anything put up with that tends to get copyright striked. But hopefully we're doing a full one of this. Stream a few hours, most of the days of the week. And hopefully the audio of that isn't too high. I'm going to turn it down just a touch, so I can hear myself speak. Okay. Hopefully it's coming through still. Yep. So, like many other games, it's not a full-blown playthrough. I have played a little bit of this before. Specifically, I've played up to getting your first mythic level in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Past that point, I have not actually continued. Mostly because at that point, I will usually go back, try a different build, try a different character. It's a bad habit of mine, to be honest. But with a bit of luck, we'll be able to go through, play this until we get to the first part where I've played up to before, and then past that point, it'll be blind going onwards. As for difficulty, we'll go core. Custom character, pretty much always. Now, I haven't fully made up my mind about what type of character I'm going to make for this, because Pathfinder is such a complex and many-layered game. Especially this particular version of it, because it differs from pen and paper, as you can imagine. They simplified the skills you can get. It's 0.525. The classes are limited, so to speak. But the challenges in this game, I think many people would agree with me that they've been slightly hyper-tuned. They are pushing the CR of creatures pretty much at the very edge of what a party would reasonably be able to fight constantly, which pretty much encourages a lot of people to do min-maxing of some degree. Now, a lot of these have been used before, and have been used in game. A lot of these portraits are characters you will run into. These three, for example, are ones you'll run into pretty much immediately. Along with him, along with her, I believe. Also, that's one. So, I'm not sure what they were thinking when they did the portraits. Such a limited amount, and a lot of them are just characters you will meet elsewhere. They did give us the Kingmaker ones for free, which is, to be honest, kind of nice. But personally speaking, I like to use custom portraits whenever I can. Now, there are some pretty nice portrait packs for this game. I'd recommend looking up Kingmaker portrait packs though, because they are both compatible. You can just take the ones from Kingmaker mod packs and put them straight into Wrath of the Righteous without any trouble whatsoever. As for character, I usually do tend to play through with female characters, as you can tell, which is why most of the custom portraits you see there are women. But gotta be careful of Twitch's TOS as well. In regards to the T and I. To be honest, I was thinking about using... where did I put you? This one. It's a simple portrait that just... I can't remember the artist that did this particular artwork. But I do remember that if you want to go look for portraits like this and other ones, and just find ones that you freely put onto the internet, ArtStation is a good website to look through, because it has many portraits like this and others that are easily cropped and added into your game if you want to do so. I really wish I could remember the artist that did it though, because I'd like to do a shout out to them. I did like their work. Now, as for particular classes, I'm not sure which one I'm going to choose. I don't want... how to say this? There are certain mythic paths you can choose, and I'm considering doing Legend, mostly because it gets me to level 40, which I enjoy, and because most of the other paths have quote-unquote cons and pros. You give up something to get a certain amount of power in a certain direction. And for a lot of the paths push you towards a certain alignment as well. Lich, for example, you give up all the romance options and you are essentially the most evil caster in the world, according to everyone else. Demon, same thing, though. Yeah, Demon pretty much pushes you into evil as well. Angel, I don't feel like white knighting, to be honest. Azata feels, I'm gonna amused by this, but a little bit too goody two shoes. Trickster, I can't take seriously. I love its mythic setup, the abilities you'll get from it later on, but I can't take a Trickster seriously, which is actually a good thing for Trickster. It's not meant to be taken seriously, which is probably why I'll probably get Aeon into Legend. Aeon is an interesting one. I have tried or considered to do one in the past with like a judge build, because I do like the setup. The fact that you can give everyone else your judgments as a swift action, and you can... This actually wasn't in the game a little while. You had Judge, but a few patches back, it did not have its sentence ability. But I do like it where you can basically choose one target and make all your allies just do extra damage to them. I just like the thematic theme of the Judge. Now if you're making a melee, Paladin's also a good choice, mostly because of Divine Grace. The bonus to your saving throws based on your Charisma bonus is quite huge, especially since Charisma is, for a lot of different classes, probably the most powerful stat you can have in this game at the moment. It boosts a lot of casting classes, it boosts Persuasion, which is probably the most important skill in the game. At least one that I feel like is most important. And with Divine Grace, it also boosts your saving throws to absurd levels. As for Origin of Courage, that's also another good one to have. Immune to fear, and it gives all your allies a bonus to that. And as Paladin goes on through, it keeps on getting immunity to other things that demons are going to be throwing at you repeatedly. And of course, level 20, Holy Champion. Just become a champion of your god. Go Deus Volt against everything and anyone. But what to do, what to do. I'm not entirely sure, but I feel like going Paladin again. Not full Paladin. If I go Paladin, it would most likely be a multi-class into Fighter. Perhaps even two-handed Fighter. Not because of its abilities, just because... How to say this? It'd just be going Fighter, but... Because there's extra specialization option to go for that, I probably would. But I'm also leaning Hell Knight. Now, if you don't know about Hell Knights, they're essentially... they believe in law so strongly that they are willing to do whatever it takes to bring it back into power. They are the warriors that fight chaos with any means possible. They're not evil per se, but that doesn't mean they won't do evil to ensure that law reasserts itself as a proper order in the universe. I should say force of the universe. I'm leaning towards that, to be honest. At least for now. Legend does give you the extra 20 levels, between 20 and 40. I'm not sure what I'm going to do in that. The Knight Signifier is something else you can consider if you want to go like Spellcaster. But for now, let's go Fighter. Because I do want to go two-hand. But perhaps Armiger. Lean into the Hell Knight. Does give up a couple of feats. Literally just a couple. Gives up Bravery. So arguably get a better ability. A more focused ability, you could say. It still gets armor training, which is good. You really want to take armor training to 7th level if you can, unless you have another way to get normal speed with wearing heavy armor. Everything else with fight is just like, more feats, more time. We'll go Armiger. Go human. There is a argument to be said for almost any race. But with that portrait, it's either going to be human or Dampier. I feel like going human. Fighter, human, the most vanilla of combinations. We'll go leader, because I want that great sword, weapon proficiency. Bonus. If your class already has proficiency in it, when choosing your background, it will add a +1 competence, no, enhancement bonus to weapon proficiency, which just means you hit more often. Pretty powerful in the lower levels. Now we'll go... The temptation to go 20 strength is pretty high, but it's better to spread around your stuff, I feel. Another thing to consider when allocating your stat points is to try and ensure that you have at least one that's odd. Mostly because if you go 1 to 20, you get 5 extra stat points put in. And if you have one that's odd, that means you get to put every single point in a meaningful way. There are other combinations to do it, but it's always good to have at least one. As for Legend, however, I believe you get an extra 5 when going from 20 to 40. Could be wrong about that, but I think that's the case. In which case, it will be beneficial to have 2 that are odd. Obviously, if I could get that to be odd, it would be probably better. A bit min-maxy again. Now, if you're making another character that isn't planning to wear like full armor, I would highly recommend getting some dexterity, because it adds to your AC, and even if you're going heavy armor, especially when you're going fighter, it also adds to your touch AC, which is why I am considering doing that instead. Of course, if you're doing turn-based mode, which we will be doing, it's going to slow everything down, but I prefer to do that in this game. It also boosts your initiative, which is also quite useful to have a high one. Going first in combat allows for alpha strikes, and alpha strikes are very good. As for skills, if you'll excuse me for a sec, I need to double check what we actually need for Hell Knight. You need, I believe, Knowledge Arcana 2. Efficiency, we'll have that. Persuasion 5. That's another one. So go back to Armature, go back to this, do this again. So we need Arcana and Persuasion. Those are the two we definitely need. As for the other two, oof. Perception would be good. And while it would be good to add points into athletics and mobility for this person, in Wrath of the Righteous, your party members can assist you when doing basically the checks. So if it's someone else championing a skill, you don't always need to put those points in yourself. The paladin that you get really early, Sahila, I want to say, I basically make her the athletics mobility skill monkey. And because she's pretty much going to be accompanying us for most of the game, I believe that should be okay. I'm just thinking back to stats. Do I want to go Inquisitor or some combination of Inquisitor / Cleric later on for the 20 to 40 level? Hard to say. That was 2 points. It gives us options later on. Charisma doesn't need to be that high. Still have 2 odd, which allows us to help out and get that maxed up. Be efficient. Min-maxy, kind of, in a way. And it doesn't really affect us too much at the moment to have slightly lower charisma. Because as you hit legend, you get +4 to all of them. There's slightly more mechanics to legend that we'll have to discuss a bit later on, but for now, that should be enough. Weapon focus. Great sword. Top tip, if you have a weapon focus or an exotic weapon proficiency or weapon focus at the very beginning of the game, you'll get a guaranteed drop of that weapon pretty much immediately in the tutorial section. So you won't have to worry about finding a weapon in this game. They're just going to give you one basic version of it right at the start. So don't be afraid of, going for some extreme like double sword weapon efficiency, or dueling sword, elven curve blade, that sort of thing. You'll get one. Your character will essentially start with one. As for the second feat, power attack is strong, and I recommend getting it. Just probably not for first level. Most of the things you'll be killing with a great sword are with one hit anyway. And you want to be hitting more in first level than not hitting. And taking the -1 penalty of melee attack rolls is probably not optimal. Now, did I choose perception as well? I did. Persuasion and perception. Barcelona for human. One additional skill point per level. It's going to pay off dividends later on. Now, which order you get? I'm not 100% certain of this. It used to be in the past that if you chose your order for Armiger, you wouldn't get its benefit until you actually got your first level of Hell Knight. Shouldn't affect too much, but if you're going Arcane Caster, if you're going for like Hell Knight Signifier, I 100% recommend Order of the Gate. It'll essentially allow you, once you have all the feats, once you have this maxed up, to wear full plate armor without spellcasting failure. Because I believe armor failure for spellcasting is 35% in full plate. Don't quote me on that, I have to look it up. I think it's 35%. In which case, Hell Knight of the Gate plus the 2 feats for spellcasting and armor will allow you to do so. Plus the Signifier's extra thing they add on top of that. What for the chain? It's plus 2 bonus to CMD. CMB and CMD in this game aren't really big things. CMD actually is. A lot of the demons, or I should say a certain type of the demons, do attempt to sunder your armor pretty much constantly. As mentioned, Gate is great for spellcasters. Godclaw, first level an aura, which you can use 3 times a day. An aura is a 30-foot radius. Roll bonus to AC, attack and damage rolls against chaotic enemies. Increases twice at 5th and 9th level, which is actually pretty good. Some roll bonus, so I believe they stack. Or the nail. Basically gives you favoured enemies by the looks of it. Order of the Pyre. Essentially, if you are throwing fireballs at point blank range, that's the order you want to pick. Order of the Rack. Target a single creature. They must pass a will saving throw. Become unable to cast spells. The Anti-Mage Order. Order of the Scourge. When if you land a killing blow, all enemies in 15-foot radius have a -2 penalty on will saving throws for 3 rounds. It's actually another good one for casters to have. Actually, let me rephrase. It's a good one to have if you have casters in your party. It also feels like it'd be good with Dazzling Display, because it really would stack on what happens when you kill something. I'll show you Dazzling Display slightly later. Actually, I can do it now. Dazzling Display. Actually, I think it was Dreadful Carnage I was thinking of. Yes. Whenever you reduce an enemy to 0 or fewer hit points, you can make Persuasion to intimidate people. And if you do, I believe that is Shaken, which is just a minor debuff on everyone around you. Let's just put this back to fast learner. Cool. Well, to do something crazy and go for Signifier first, rather than just pure Hell Knight. Arcana, World, and Persuasion. And have one of the Arcane Armor training feats. Okay, Arcana and World. We're getting those. Persuasion, 100% getting that. I recommend having at least one character specialised in Persuasion as much as possible. I like doing that with my main character. I'm able to cast arcane spells at 3rd level. Which for a sorcerer requires level 6, if I remember correctly. You see how it is? How the complicated thoughts start to begin? Where do you want your build to go? Yeah, I'm 100% starting to think maybe I should try and do the Signifier. It's going to be a jank build. It's not going to be the greatest and most efficient one in the world. It's going to have a, let's say, from level 5, no, from level 4 to 10, it's going to be weak. It's going to be much weaker than you'd expect from a normal melee specialist. But it has potential, I feel. Especially with Legend. Where to put this extra skill point? That's my next question. There's a good. There's a good. Use magic device has its uses. I'm not particularly interested in it though. I'd normally recommend Trickery for most people. You want to have someone that can open locks. But I believe this skill point isn't one that's going to come up repeatedly because it's intelligence 12. I think it might be an off-level bonus, so to speak. So we'll just put it into athletics for now. Actually, knowledge law. Having more knowledge always helps. As for this, because we're considering now going for Signifier plus Sorcerer, and then eventually, if we do the Legend path, going to Mystic Thurge and perhaps getting even more spells from the Cleric path, Order of the Gate is going to be quite useful. As for which god to choose, if you're going a Hell Knight build, I have to 100% recommend going Godclaw. It gives a thing you can eventually get through Hell Knight's prestige class, which basically allows you to pick up extra domains. And it's just on point. It's on flavour. Lawful neutral, of course, because Hell Knight, baby. Appearance. Never like having the backpack. Body style. Face is fine. The only thing I really change during this is hair. Because most of the time you're looking at your zoomed out character. It's usually in the hair you notice. Oh, and of course, that. Look at the armor again. So, kind of dark blue and silver. I should say dark grey and silver. It's sort of that build.
You should have run.
I like having voice set to none as well. That's the name of the character. I do have a name I use on Discord quite a lot, but... I have been using Metal Gear Solid references recently. But none of them are really appropriate for this type of character. I really do suck when it comes to naming things though. It's a lot of pain. Anyway, let's do that. Let's just say the 6th of the 6th. If the name... Oh, Elsie. Elsie. Perhaps Elsie. There we go. Simple, to the point, no last name needed. Like most adventurers. If you're playing Pathfinder, don't worry about a last name most of the time. You will not need it. And it's funny to get your DM to ask, what is your last name? And get a response just like, I don't have a last name. They'll do that repeatedly and often. Now, in case you're wondering how long this particular chapter of the stream is going to go, roughly about an extra hour. Hopefully you don't have any stream issues during that time, but if it keeps on going for that long, we should have a good beginning to this section. I might end it prematurely, of course, if we get to a good stopping point until tomorrow.
Hey, somebody!
But for the most part,
We
it's
got a
gonna be
wounded
now.
fighter. Can we get a healer over here?
My, would you look at this? But why would you drag a wounded fighter into the middle of the festival square? Couldn't she be carted off somewhere else like, oh, I don't know, an infirmary? Or an accommodating ditch?
Make room, everyone. Step back. Now, what's the matter? What happened to her?
You hear the stern voice of an elderly man,
The wound looks nasty. Who did this to her?
but you're so weak you can't even turn your head to look in his direction.
Demons, Prelate. We found her barely alive outside the walls of Canopus.
It was demons! It's always demons here.
Walls, you say? Enemy doesn't usually stray so close to the city. Must fortify the defenses. And you, hold fast. Don't die. We'll see you.
Another tip for Pathfinder, if you find an NPC in a game, let's say a pen and paper game, and if you hear an NPC say, it was demons, and you believe them, just leave. Most demons you don't need to fight, and they're quite nasty, and let the other adventure party, you know, the NPC one over the hill, let them deal with it. You just go live a nice life. Buy a tavern, settle down. Sell drinks to other adventurers, then go out and die to the demons that you didn't fight.
We'll get you patched up now.
To be honest, there's nothing wrong with that particular
Guard. Take her weapons.
plotline, so to speak.
Bearing arms is not permitted.
Having an adventurer that's just like, I want to settle down, just have enough money for the
Abide
inn.
by the rules.
Totally fine.
She can get her things back after the festival.
And of course, he's going to steal our weapon.
O Inheritor, leader of our troops, the sharpened edge of our blades and the unyielding strength of our armor. Iomade, I beseech you, grant your mercy, heal her wounds.
Now, a little lore point that I'm going to tell you about now that isn't pointed out explicitly in the game is about Iomade. Iomade is essentially the god of paladins. She represents all that is justice and righteousness and holy fury, and was at one point mortal. She became a god, specifically after another god kind of died. There was once a god in the past, can't remember his name, it was essentially the god of humanity. It's just like, I am the god of self-perfection. I am so powerful, I've walked my path so well that I am ascended to become a god. And I will go to this place, do this thing, and then I shall return to you on the promised day. Only when that day came, that one particular god didn't appear. In fact, all his priests lost their power, all his temples ended up destroyed, and his entire nation built around him pretty much sunk into the sea. So that god pretty much became the god of empty promises, and left a bit of a void in the pantheon of belief, which then Iomade, after fighting and being so righteous, filled. She rose to her current position and is considered to be the inheritor of that lost seat, you could say, of godhood. And, of course, if you hover over things, they'll give you a short description. Aradin. That was a god that disappeared. So yeah, Aradin was the man that tried to ascend to godhood, or did ascend to godhood perhaps, didn't come back, and then all his followers then switched over to her, who was kind of a herald at the time. As for what our choices shall be,
Hear, hear. That's the Crusader spirit.
won't give up that easily, of course. We're not going to die here.
My powers are not enough here. Someone call for Terendelev. You there. Yes, you. Stop dithering and gawping and make yourself useful. Go and get Terendelev.
Prelate, surely there is somebody else here better suited to running errands.
I think you've all had that person in class where you've just like had them pointed to, told to do something, and they just said, "Oh, but can't someone else do it?"
I'll get her. Terendelev! Has anyone seen Terendelev?
And then you've always got that other person in the other side class that just puts up their hand and says, I can do it, I don't mind, and then just rushes off to do the thing.
Be quick about it before it's too late. Now, who are you? I don't remember seeing you before, and I have an excellent memory for faces.
Who I am is none of your business.
What? Do you have any idea who you're talking to?
No. Well, I do. But at this point in the game, no. We have no idea who the fuck you are. Oh, and I do tend to swear on occasion. Hopefully Twitch doesn't mind that too much. Or even YouTube.
My dear prelate, please, for the sake of the festivities, stop interrogating this poor woman. She's been through enough already. Go on. I'll take care of her.
For those that aren't watching me on Twitch, which, to be honest, probably most of you, I do re-upload most of my videos from Twitch onto YouTube later on. So, don't worry about missing anything if you're not there for a, say, an episode. You'll be able to catch up pretty easily.
All right, as you wish. You are our protector, and a dragon at that, so I shall defer to your wisdom. But be on your guard. I've been informed she was wounded near Canabras. That means the demons are prowling just outside the walls. And the city is crawling with their spies. Others may be able to relax on this holiday, but not you or I. Not the defenders of the city.
He's a bit of a firebrand. It's like, we can't let our guard down. We must always be ready. These demons could be lurking at any shadow. They could come out of the woodwork. They could be waiting in... What's the word? Laying in wait for us to lower our guard at any time. A bit paranoid. But then again, he has been fighting demons for who knows how long. So totally also somewhat understandable. Bit of a lore dump there as well. She's a dragon.
Pry loose the grudging grip of pain. Cast off the veil of suffering flesh. Let light and life go forth in triumph to repel the skulking shade of death. There.
A beautiful silver-haired woman leans over you. She seems ageless, her face wholly unlined, but centuries-old sadness gleams in her eyes. And the longer she speaks, the stronger her voice becomes. Are you really a dragon?
Believe me. Perhaps I should retake my true form and engulf this square with my ice breath to win your trust. Pay no mind to my current guise. I appear this way when I walk among the people. I would hamper the festivities if I tried to attend in my true form.
I don't know. I think a lot of people like it if a dragon just turned up and began to chill. In fact, I think for a festival, if the dragon was friendly, mind you, I wouldn't mind it.
My name is Terendelev. I am the protector of the city. I accept your thanks. But my work is not yet done. I do not know yet. And that troubles me. I am not entirely sure what the demons did to you. This wound is no ordinary injury, and it was inflicted by no ordinary weapon. I have rid you of your pain and restored your strength, but only time will allow you to heal fully. Certainly, but be careful. I have managed to get you back on your feet, but I have not healed you fully. Alas, sooner or later, your pain will return. But do not be discouraged. You will recover, I promise you that. Tomorrow, come to the cathedral and say that you are expected by Terendelev, protector of Canabras. We will find a way to help you. But for now, put this out of your mind and enjoy the festival. They are all too rare in this time of war, and merriment is one of the best medicines.
Okay. I'm going to do two things. First is turn the Vol's volume up to about 60. Because I'm a little worried you're not picking up the NPCs talking that much. Second thing is, I'm going to do, as you can see, a lot of characters, None of them have progressed past getting Mythic 1. I'm going to recommend doing two things. So, make 2 saves. Make one for when you start a session, make one for when you end it, and just update both as you go along. Mostly because it's been a problem for me in the past, and it has happened on occasion, especially when they patch the game every now and again. Your game get corrupted, your save. Or you could be tired when you finish the session and just forget to save when going out. So doing it this way will ensure that you don't lose too much progress if bad things happen, which is entirely possible in this type of game. Now, we are a fighter at the moment, so our action bars don't need to be too filled. You want to put charge on there. Basically, as you just close distance and do an attack. Fighting defensively is another good one to just consider. If your character is, for some reason, tanking, it's a good ability to turn on. It just makes it harder for you to be hit. Though it also makes it harder for you to hit other people. That one doesn't really work too well, and there are ways to do it that are slightly better. That doesn't really matter because we don't have a Skald in our party. Treat Affliction is useful, though in the last patch they changed it so you now need first aid kits to use it. In the past you didn't. It just allowed you to, once a day, try to get rid of a affliction on someone, such as a disease or a sickness or poison. As for what our character shall do, a lot of the people in this particular area don't actually talk to you. You can walk up to them and talk to a few, like August Worm here, which will say something different. But for the most part, none of it is particularly story relevant. Of course, bands rocking out the stage. People are just having fun, having their own thing. There's a masked stranger over here that just does nothing. It says here, rather than aloud, the absence of an answer is an answer too. I haven't found out what they're about yet. Now, if you want to know where to go, press tab, bring up details, and, you know, throw a dart. Now, let's go get a drink. In real life as well, my throat is feeling a little dry. In the future, now we're going to start actually streaming again organised tricks before the session. Oh no, what could that be? Critical hit into critical hit. With a scythe, no less.
Discari's here. Discari himself. Blimey! One minute we had a dragon, the next, bang, she was gone. What are you gonna do? Fight or flee? If flee is your plan, let me help you out. I've got a scroll here with a good protective spell.
The halfling's armour is splashed with blood, and he is armed to the teeth with a sword, a blade, and a hatchet on his belt, and a crossbow upon his back. His voice sounds familiar to you.
Yeah, you have. You owe me your life. I'm the one walls and brought you inside to be healed. I see they patched you up. Good thing they did it before the attack, else you'd have been done for.
Kiddling me a weapon.
Sure thing. Here, take this. Best crossbow I've got. The person who made it said it could pierce the hide of a demon lord even. Good luck! Try not to get eaten now!
A mortal gnat snaps its jaws at the Lord of Locusts. Behold, Iomade. Behold the death I sow.
Now, there is one thing I want to mention. Back when Discari was doing his monologue, which villains tend to do,
The silver dragon, Terendelev, the defender of Canabras, fell in battle. Hardly surprising, as she had to fight the demon lord Discari himself. He willed the land to part and swallow all who dared to stand in his way. But the war was still far from over.
yeah, back when he was monologuing, he called Aramide an imposter. Hopefully you picked that up, but it just goes back to what I was saying before about her filling the void where Aradin disappeared. Doesn't have the most respect among demon lords, mostly because A, they're demon lords, and B, there's an argument to be said that she's just filling the hole that was left by someone else. Hence, she's just an imposter. She's not a real god, she's just posing. At least that's the line that Discari would push towards us. Zoom in a little bit.
Holy mother of...
A small woman with messy brown hair winces in pain, uttering a stream of curses through clenched teeth. She is pinned to the ground by a couple of weighty boulders.
Hey, stay with me. You actually got pretty lucky. You fell down into a black hole. But at least you're not on your own. You've got a great companion. Everything's going to be just fine. Tell me something. Can you feel your legs?
I don't know how falling down a black hole could be considered lucky. Just don't know. There, Celia?
I feel him all right. One say no to a little less feeling in him. My ankle's killing me, but my back seems to still be in one piece. My head, too.
That's all that matters. Now, we're going to... Hey! Fancy meeting you down here. You're the one that Terendelev healed today, right? You aren't injured, are you? Will you help me get her out from under the boulders?
Spotting you, the knight reaches for a sheathed weapon, but after scrutinizing your face momentarily, she raises her hand in greeting. Evil option. Just do it for money. Knowledge world. Ah yes, I will be playing with the DCs on, mostly because, you know, I like it. There's no other reason other than that. Hold on, we're gonna get you out of there. Athletics -1. Ah, it's because I'm wearing armor. Armor check penalty. But, do that one. At least we have some bonus to it. Ooh. We're gonna have to rely on brute strength for this. I'll try and find something to use as a lever. And then the sticks we brought snap.
I don't think you're gonna get anywhere with that. Why don't I just...
Using all of her strength, the knight moves the boulder and drags the wounded woman out from under the rubble. After making sure her charge is alright, the knight allows herself to catch her breath and wipe the sweat from her brow.
Damn it all. I think it's broken. Oh well, I've had worse. I'll just make myself a splint out of something. Thanks for the help. I wouldn't have lasted long on my own stuck under there. I'm Anevia Tirabade, of the Eagle Watch. I was overseeing security at the festival square. I thought maybe spies or demon worshippers might have something nasty planned. What actually happened, though? Now that I did not see coming. I don't think anyone could have been prepared for that.
Well, it seems the spies and demon worshippers were actually planning something.
Well, I'm Sela, paladin by the grace of Iomade. I crossed the whole continent to come to Mendeb and fight demons. And well, I've been fighting for a while now. I don't even want to think
And yet,
what
still
might be
level 1.
happening up there in the city. Canabres has lost the protection of Terendelev, and of the Wardstone too, looks like. It's a relic without equal. It was placed here personally by Iomede's herald, with the goddess's blessing. I really wanted to go see it, to pray before it. But there's no point worrying about a stone when there are people dying in the streets.
The World Stones are a chain of powerful artifacts, keeping the World Runes expansion at bay. World Rune, by the way, is where the demons are coming from. It's essentially just a rift into the pit. The first and greatest in the chain was erected in the city of Canabres, where we are, by the hand of the inheritor himself. A golden-winged angel sent by the goddess Iomade.
Yeah, things are looking grim enough, but don't lose heart. Wardstone or no, dragon or no, Canabres will never give in. Simple as. Well, we've introduced ourselves. What about you?
A lot of choices here. None of them really matter as far as I'm aware. But we're going to keep up the anonymity. Anonymity? Anonymity. Yeah, words. English is difficult at times, and I may stumble over words on occasion. Who I am is none of your business.
If we want to get out of here, we need to trust each other a little, don't you think?
Sela's right, but if you want somebody to trust you, you don't earn that trust by forcing them to blab about themselves when they don't wanna.
All right, I get it. People call me a lot of things, but I'll not have nosy added to the list.
Too late. It's already there. Nosy's added onto the list.
Now then, I'll hobble my way out of here somehow. The city ain't far, only 30 paces or so. That's if you're going straight up, of course. I'm afraid we're gonna have to go the long way round.
I mean, you have enough wood there. It wouldn't be totally unrealistic to forge it, or tie together a ladder. Or some sort of... Was it 30 paces high? Actually pretty high. I mean, you got enough loose boulders and rocks there. You could probably put something together.
To summarize, there are 3 of us, with 5 working legs, 3 pairs of decent hands, 2 clear heads, and 1 made of wood. That's mine. Underground monsters, beware! Anevia, you stay behind us. You're in no fit state to fight. If we do come up against anything, the 2 of us will try to manage on our own first. Well, onward! May the good deities lead us back to the open sky soon.
What about the bad deities? I mean, they could be helpful as well. First thing first, we're going to switch our formation around slightly. Mostly put you in front, you there. The chest for all that stuff. This is what I meant about, you know, having a weapon practically given to you. The rest of these don't really matter too much. Well, that does. Another tip if you're playing this game, grab anything that says cold iron or masterwork. Mostly because they sell for money. Quite a significant amount of it. And they drop pretty frequently. It does eat into your weight capacity, by the way, but to be honest, having gold's worth it. As you get that plate armor, that much faster.
Who's there?
The fine apparel of this young half-elf woman is torn and stained with blood, dust, and dirt. However, she holds herself with such dignity that you'd be forgiven for thinking you are at a high society party, and not in the dank catacombs underneath the city. Her fingers grip her rapier hilt with confidence, ready to draw it at a moment's notice. At her feet lies a dead body, so mutilated that at first glance it's hard to tell if it's animal or human.
Relax, friend. We're we're not demons or cultists. Don't poke my eye out with that thing, all right? We fell down here during the attack. I'm Sela, that's Anevia, and this is our new friend. We're looking for a way back to the surface.
Really? I'm so ever glad to hear it. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Camellia. I was also in the square when... I can scarcely believe it. How did all those demons get into the city? I thought, naively it now seems, that the Wardstone protected us from attack. And Terendelev, I can't wrap my head around it.
Not many could withstand a strike from a demon lord. Not even Terendelev.
I can't argue with that. We're fortunate to be alive, albeit underground.
Discari himself has come to Canabras. There's no mistaking that ugly mug. Terendelev tried to fight him, but what could she do against a near deity? Even the Wardstone was no help. Our city used to be protected by powerful forces, but now...
We've seen how powerless they truly are. Henceforth, we shall have no one but ourselves to rely on, I suppose.
Do you want to join us?
Certainly. Survivors should stick together. It's only sensible. Who knows what else could be prowling about in these caves?
We need to keep moving. There must be a way up to the surface somewhere around here.
That's right. It would be the height of foolishness to survive a demon attack only to perish under a pile of rubble.
Let's see if this poor bloke has anything useful on him. Not to sound like a heartless brigand or nothing, but we kinda need all the supplies we can get right now.
Masterwork dagger, thank you very much. I'm tempted to bring them slightly closer together because they are spread out quite widely at the moment, especially in this cave. But it could be useful to avoid airways in the future.
Save
So
the
we'll just get used to it now. Fortunately, because we failed that check earlier to get her out from under the rock, our paladin's now a bit fatigued. Which does actually have an effect. It's going to make it so that the paladin doesn't hit quite as often and is easier to be hit. Basically makes our tank less effective. But we're kind of a beast, so...
I'll cut you wide open!
It is something we just have to keep in mind, though. This is pretty much a tutorial section. You have her back there, meaning she's going to practically win most fights for you. Take the gold, leave everything else. Another tip if you're going through the game, do not use up both of these. Make sure you have at least one. I have made the mistake in the past of using both when I was first learning the game to revive people back from the dead. 100% don't do that. It's a key item and one that you'll need later on in the game to unlock something that may be important to you. May not be. In which case, go wild with them. If it is, keep them.
The heartbeat quickens! The spirits demand your blood!
Luckily, our paladin did not get the disease there. Diseases in this game are nasty.
Don't worry about me.
The fact that she got knocked out so early is a bit of annoying pain though.
You are today's sacrifice!
I really don't want that disease. Oh, that's annoying. Of course, my main character gets it.
So this is how it feels.
Okay. Now, in theory, we shouldn't be able to get game over here because we have the archer back there. In theory. Ooh, this could get nasty. Do we actually have a healing potion? This could be it. This could be game over. Oof. So close on, what was it, the second fight in the game?
I'll watch your back.
Rely on me.
That is not what you want to see. 100% not what you want to see in this game.
You can trust me.
Okay, you have at least some healing. So that gets you up. That gets you somewhat better as well. But that's all our healing at the moment. 100% of it. Now, I do need to look up the... Is there a quick save button? Normally I just totally save all the time. Oh, there is. It's 5. There we go. That did worry me for half a second down there. Oh, natural 1. Really?
I'll cut you wide open.
Go on. 2? I'm rolling really badly today.
Into the fray.
Another natural 1. 4. Yeah.
The spirits demand your blood.
There we go. Now Camilla, she is pretty much a melee caster, and a pretty good one as well. But she is the definition of a slow starter. Her weapon, while it does have a good attack, is going to only be doing 1d6 damage for a long time. A long, long time. Because she needs 2 feats to get the actual bonus pretty quickly. The one from when she needs weapon focus in her weapon of choice, which will be rapier, and also I believe it's slashing grace.
The inheritor, guide my blade.
Which means if you keep her in the one class she's currently at, it's going to be level 5 when she gets the damage to justify her class. If you multi-class into fighter though, it can be level 2. Which is why if you want to get her online faster, multi-classing her into fighter is a good way to do it. I don't think we'll be doing that on this run though. Just like we won't be sending her into melee combat immediately.
The light take you.
It's 1 dead. Can we get you to go over and deal with this? You're already infected, so why not? Of course you get knocked out.
You are today's sacrifice.
Into the fray.
Thank you, Anivia. We don't lose any experience for her doing that either, so it's all good.
Do not fear. Do not waver.
Unfortunately, we don't have the options to heal ourselves that much at the moment, so we just have to go all
for
in.
their hearts.
There we go. Fail the check. There's nothing else over there. Get to meet more people.
No, I can't just walk away. It's got to be here somewhere.
You struggle to make out the man's features in the gloom. As soon as he steps into the circle of light, however, you realize that you've never encountered a creature like this before. The stranger looks like the work of a vivisectionist who attempted to stitch together a lizard and a man.
When do I?
The man noses you and freezes. The curling horn protruding from his head casts a malevolent shadow on the cave wall.
Lan, did you find it? Who is that?
The woman looks just as strange as her companion, like a cross between a cat and a spider. When she catches sight of you, she immediately drops into a fighting stance. Her movements reveal the lethal grace of a wild predator.
The do-gooders here to save our mongrel souls, no doubt. Wait. They might know what's going on up there.
Demons laying waste to Canabras.
If things are as bad as you say, then we all have to hurry.
You didn't come from the direction of the shield maze. Damn it. I couldn't care less about what's happening on the surface, but the maze.
I realize that you guys have your own troubles, but we need to be in Canabras. People are dying up there. Please, show us the way out.
Who are you? Tieflings?
Tieflings are the descendants of people who sullied themselves by mating with demons. Our ancestors would never sink that low. We are the Underground Crusaders, the children of the Crusade's finest.
Sadly, Underground Crusaders is a bit of a mouthful, so people usually just call us mongrels.
You just love repeating that, don't you, Lan? Mongrels. That's what the Uplanders call us. But we call ourselves Neathers.
No matter what you call us, it's not gonna stop our horns, hooves, or tails from growing.
Never heard of Underground Crusaders before.
In Canabras, they're called mongrels. People say that they come up to the surface at night and eat anyone foolish enough to wander alone after midnight. To tell you the truth, I thought you guys were just a tale to tell kids at night.
That's human gratitude for you. Our forefathers suffered the consequences of demonic corruption, all to protect Mendev and Golarion. And for what? So we could become monsters used to frighten children.
Every mongrel has their own take on it. Our chief, for example, thinks of us as something like a reserve military force. He thinks we're standing by until the moment we're needed, and when we emerge on the surface and save the day, all the people will see how good we are, and they'll love us for it. Yeah, he leaves that last part out when he talks about it, of course, but it's easy enough to read between the lines.
What are you doing here?
That's none of your business.
We're looking for a holy sword. It was here, in the center, sticking out of a rock. The sooner we find it, the better. Some kids from our tribe took off for the shield maze. They figured it had collapsed, and now it's their time to go up to the surface, like all the legends foretold. Except they don't have a clue what's waiting for them up there. They're not fighters. And Saul, the chief of our tribe, is dead set against it. He says that now isn't the time for the Underground Crusaders to take up arms. If we get the Holy Sword, we might be able to change the chief's mind.
It's a fool's errand. None of us will be able to hold the sword, let alone use it to save anyone. It's not an ordinary weapon. It's made from righteous heavenly flame and will burn anyone who touches it. Do you think you're special, Lan?
I'll pick it up with my teeth and tie it to my hand if I have to. It doesn't matter. An angel's sword and a troop of stalwart mongrels will be able to work a minor miracle. Speaking of which, you're still here, Wendu, which means that deep down, you know it's possible.
Wendua shrugs and turns away.
It came here with its owner, a long time ago. 50,000 gongs, to be precise.
70 years ago, in Uplander time.
50,000 gongs ago, our forebears found a dead angel here, along with the bodies of his comrades. The tribe gave them a dignified burial, and they were laid to rest with their weapons. But the flaming angelic sword was stuck in a rock, and no one was able to pull it out. It burned to the touch, like real fire. so the rock was placed over the angel's grave. It should be here somewhere.
Maybe the angel will dig himself out and find the sword for us. That might be our best shot in this chaos.
Len, watch your tongue.
We'll find the sword faster if we work together. I'll help you.
Thanks. An extra pair of eyes can only help. The sword will be easy enough to spot. It looks, swordy. Help us, and in return, we'll get you out of here.
Now we're talking. Let's get to work. It's a good thing we all bumped into each other, isn't it?
What, you want to find the sword quickly so the underground monsters bring you back to the surface? So be it.
Okay. Finding a sword.
No, what is that? Ah, not this time.
Loot. Loot.
What
All
do we
the
have
loot.
here?
All the loot. To be honest, most of this is worth absolutely nothing.
Something.
Now what is
What's that there?
But when you hear that sound and something is lit up purple, you just know you have to loot it. And that's the one we have to get. A strange flash pierces the gloom, and Elsie feels drops of searing blood run down her chest. A wound healed by Telendalev reopens and weeps scarlet. But there's no pain or weakness. A hazy scene appears. A cave chamber. This one, or another entirely? Elsie's heartbeat quickens, and a stream of thoughts suddenly bursts into her mind, thoughts that clearly belong to another. Treachery! They betrayed me, trapped me, and stabbed me in my back. My trusted allies, my treasured friends! The people I swore to protect. The people for whom I descended from heaven and came to this turbulent mortal world. There they are, up ahead, in the gloom of the cave. What are they waiting for? Are they afraid to draw any closer? Do they believe I'm about to die from the traitorous blows? Next to me, a quiet moan. A girl with a golden braid lies on the rocks, clutching her slashed side. She refused to join the traitors and paid dearly for it. I could have tried to run, but I will not. Whilst I still have strength, I must. By recognizing the foreign origins of these thoughts, Elsie intuits that she can control them somehow. Let's try to heal the wounded girl. A spark of healing magic illuminates the eerie, murky scene before Elsie. The wounded girl opens her eyes and whispers, Lariel. You said everything was going to change soon. You said you and the other warriors of heaven would be leaving us on a grand mission to stop the demons forever. Is it that true? The frenzy of foreign thoughts comes faster and faster, like a rushing river, and images flash by one after another. A priestess in colorful robes observing the stars. A young female paladin praying, clutching her glowing sword. A majestic, golden-winged angel gazing into the distance. His face covered by a helmet, but his voice ringing clear. Only if you're willing, and only if you're ready. There is no going back. And don't waste your strength healing me, the girl whispers. Your mission is more important. You take care. It is near. There in the vision, the darkness of the cave stirs into motion. Something massive appears from within its depths. A vague shadow, an outline. A nightmare come to life. A wave of odious chirping, and the rustling emanates from the shadows. The sound piercing like hot irons, lancing through flesh and bone. The traitors fall to their knees before the shadow in reverent ecstasy, and the wounded girl thrashes in her death throes. The awning chest wound burns white hot. Elsie's head pounds with pain, and it's no longer clear whose pain it is. The person called Lariel, who sent this vision, or the one unlucky enough to receive it. No matter what we choose, base is the same. But Elsie is determined to fight off the illusion. And we fail. Of course we fail. Rolled a 1. So many ones today. The force of this terrifying attack, though originating in a vision, is much greater than anything else he can withstand. Crippling fatigue drags her to the ground, hands trembling, cold piercing her skull and slowly creeping along her spine. The one who sent the vision is experiencing something similar. He is broken, exhausted. A monstrous shadow emerges from the murk of the cave. It is not real. It exists only in a strange vision or memory. The thrill of fear it provokes is more than real. The shadow's features starkly resemble those of Discari, the terrifying demon lord. In a moment as swift as thought itself, the monster's hands wrapped around the throat of the one they called Lariel. The foolish angel, struggling on the rocks, like a fly with its wings torn off, intones the shadow. Its voice changes as it moves, shifting from quiet whispering to a sonorous shout, becoming young, then old and quavering. Where is your goddess, angel? Where is the self-assured herald? How is it that you are dying here alone, so far from the light of your heaven? A strange calm envelops the thoughts of one called Lariel. He recognizes who stands before him, and he knows he will never bow down before his enemy. The flaming sword flares to life in his hand, bright, pure, flickering with multicolored sparks like the sunbeam through stained glass. Slash! The blade slices through the demonic creature's flesh, and the monster recoils with a howl, releasing his grip on Lariel's throat. The angel falls back heavily on the rocks, his vitality ebbing, but his pride remains undiminished. He grips the sword, and in the last burst of his strength, plunges it into the rock. Elsie senses the vision is fading, the rushing thoughts diminishing like a river running dry. The last thing she hears is this: "You will kill me, monster, this I know. But one day someone will come here and raise up my sword. They'll raise it up and punish evildoers and traitors." The vision disappears, flashing in a burst of colours. Elsie does not hear the final words, but she seems to complete the thought, taking it to heart. The words fly from her lips, and with them, something else. The heat blazing in Elsie's chest fades away, the edges of the scarlet wound close, leaving not even a scar behind. Looking down, Elsie sees the flaming sword in her hand, or rather, its outline. The memory of what the sword looked like. With a final surge of warm and soothing light, the sword vanishes, and the light is drawn into her hand. Elsie senses that it will return. All she needs to do is but call it.
Hey! Are you alright? You were kinda glowing just now.
See on her knees before the light, offering up a prayer to Amade.
That was it. The light of heaven. But how?
What did you do with it? Where did it go?
You saw it too? The traders? The dying girl?
It's only us here. Your group, you, me, Wendu, and the light of heaven that sort of got, sucked into you. Any chance you can whip it out again? We do kinda need it. Sorry, I crack jokes when I get nervous. And when I'm upset. And when I'm happy. Anyway, what I said, it came out wrong. We need to bring you to Chief Sum. You can show everyone the light of heaven, we'll rally the tribe and go into the maze, and we'll get back our kin.
And what if she can't make it happen a second time? What then? The tribe will just say we're crazy and turn its back on us.
Just a sec. Audio may clip here for a sec. Just need to check something. Yes, have some issues there. Check them shortly. Actually, I'll check them now. My apologies. I think I saw the memories of Lariel, the angel who died here.
Lariel? That really was Lariel? The angel from the legends. The ancestors even got his name right on the gravestone. The chief will be thrilled.
You. Thousands of gongs and no one's been able to touch it, and now you An ordinary creature of flesh and blood, no different to us. Get the sword and start talking about visions.
Now, Wendowog, don't be a sore loser. She is clearly different from us. The sword appeared before her, along with the angel's name and all that other stuff. Because she doesn't carry our mongrel taint. Heaven doesn't give a damn how special we are. We're born with evil inside us. Heaven doesn't need to know any more than that. I know you're willing to tear anyone apart to uphold our people's honor, but you and Sol, you just refuse to face the truth. We are the way we are because our ancestors' bodies were corrupted by the Abyss. It does the same thing to plants and animals. There's nothing heroic or special about it. It doesn't make us better, and it doesn't make us worthier.
It seems I can control it. Behold,
That
the
is
light.
just...
Deus
Wow,
Vault!
I
Deus
mean,
Vault!
That's amazing! Heaven has truly blessed you.
Perhaps praise the sun would be better.
This power is the most majestic thing I've ever seen in all my life. Is this what the sun is like, Lan?
Yes, it's similar. But this light is more... golden? Chief Sol needs to see this. Now that we have the power of angels on our side, he can't say no. He'll have to assemble a troop to storm the maze. You Uplanders care about your kids, right? Help us save ours. Without them, we won't survive. And then, the perils of the maze won't be so bad if we go together. We'll make our way through it and find the way to Canabras. Let's go. We'll take the short route. Well, the only route, really.
What do we have here? I am helpful, am I not?
One could say you were helpful. She's going to be saying that so much this game. Okay, F5. Quick save. I should just actually save. Oh, really? They just stack. Oof. We have to deal with that later on. Okay, I'm going to save here. And we'll save over that one. And while I would like to continue, to be honest, it is taking longer to get through this than I thought it would. So, we're going to pick up from here next time that we do the next part, which shouldn't be too long. It's going to be tomorrow, I think. Should be much longer than this part, mind you, and hopefully we'll get further. But hopefully I'll see someone then. Till then, I'll see you later.